Since the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding to further deepen bilateral ties between Nigeria and the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the two countries have continued to explore various ways of sustaining a focused cooperation in the fields of politics, economics, and migration, and consular relations between Nigeria and the Netherlands. However, according to the Observatory of Economic Complexity, OEC, in October 2022, Netherlands exported 892 million euros worth of goods and imported 32 million euros worth of produce from Nigeria, resulting in a positive trade balance of 860 million. In the same month, the top exports of the Netherlands to Nigeria were petroleum oils and oils obtained from fish, milk, and other agricultural produce, while the top imports from Netherlands from Nigeria were cocoa and similar oils. So joining us as a way of discussing the further ways of strengthening the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and Netherlands is Leonie Van Der Stijl, Deputy Consul-General, Head of Economic Team, Consulate-General of the Kingdom of Netherlands in Nigeria. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Did I say Guten Morgen?
Yeah.
Good. Guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen.
Great. Excellent. Let's talk about this trade imbalance. How can we narrow the numbers?
The trading balance are actually in Nigeria's favor.
Really?
Yes, Nigeria exports more than we export the other way around.
But you've got more high-value goods. How can we put some high-value goods in the mix?
So we're working as the Consul-General of the Netherlands here in Lagos on economics mainly. Our work here consists of three streams. We work on business support for Dutch businesses in Nigeria. We work on private sector development in Nigeria, for example, with a number of incubators for startups, and we help build up the entrepreneurial spaces. And we work with government on public-private partnerships and sometimes on troubleshooting for business. The trade numbers are just one of the aspects of our economic relations. This is definitely an important part. The biggest chunk of that trade consists of oil and gas, fossil fuel industry. But with Dangote's refinery, that might change in the near future. Let's see how that develops. Agricultural products are also on the move, and that's where Nigeria could potentially increase its trade sales to the Netherlands. And I really believe that investing in those agricultural spaces is crucial. We currently see cocoa, which was mentioned in your part, but also sesame seeds, cashew nuts, those types of products.
Materials?
Yes, adding value in Nigeria and manufacturing.
How about we get Nigerian chocolate to the Netherlands?
There are some Nigerian chocolate businesses active here. What we do with, there's a massive cocoa trade hub in Amsterdam called Theobroma. It's a huge company in multi countries. One of their off-takers or sellers is called Tulip Cocoa. They're on the outskirts of Lagos State. They actually work with about 25,000 small-scale farmers, cocoa farmers in Nigeria, and they produce not just the raw material, but also the nibs, the Nesquik, the butter. So they are already working on upgrading and adding value to that cocoa stream. But the number of companies who actually build the final chocolate product, there are not that many of them yet here. It's been a challenge to upgrade to that level
I
of...
think we should work on that, how to get more Nigerian chocolates into the Netherlands. Yeah.
I would be all for that. I love chocolate.
All right, well, still talking about that value chain. One thing I love about the Netherlands is the investment into the value chain. So you look at a country like Kenya, for example, and the amount of flowers, fruits, agricultural produce that gets lifted from Kenya into the Dutch market and the investment into that. I know during COVID, there's a time when most airlines were grounded, but KLM Cargo was still lifting agricultural produce from many parts of the world, and I know Kenya is one of those places. How do we get to a point where Nigeria can attract some of that investment into the value chain, whether it be cocoa, whether it be other, several other fruits, pineapples, so many things that Nigeria has a strategic advantage over, specifically in the agricultural sector. How do we get to that point?
Let's discuss the bottlenecks first. The port in Lagos for import and exports and the time it takes to clear goods is very, very crucial for perishables. So what that means to pineapples, I don't have to tell you, you see them in the market already, they go quickly. Cassava, same. So the next step would be to invest in the next value addition here, manufacturing. And here, there are also a number of challenges. It's mind-blowing to me that even with the current inflation in Nigeria, the number of exports haven't risen extensively, for example, in the region. I mean, it's cheaper to put pineapples across the border, even in the ECOWAS region, right? So there are bottlenecks there on the trade routes as well, logistics, cold chain. It's a whole value chain that is very, very complicated to work in. We see a number of Dutch companies who are willing to make those investments, even in the current investment climate. It's quite interesting. Today, we had a survey that we did with the Dutch companies who are active in Nigeria. 64 of them responded. There are about 90 of them active in Nigeria, 75% of them in Lagos State. And they all came back that even with the current economic challenges, 70% of them are willing to invest in new projects or reinvest in existing projects. They've invested in the last 5 years, direct foreign investment, 2 billion euros into Nigeria. So the companies, even though there are plenty of challenges here, they're still willing to put in the work and the investments. And they also invest in the chains. So there's, for example, Nutreco Skretting, who just set up a massive factory in Ibadan for fish food. Those guys are there. They feed the tilapia value chain. I just heard the Honourable Minister speak about fish as well in the previous segment. Those are necessary investments that need to be made. But we streamline them through the companies who believe in the value addition and in their own business cases here in Nigeria. And they do add value. In that same survey, in the last year, they created 18,000 jobs in Nigeria. So they're working, all of them, in their own fields. But challenges remain for scale. The challenge, we know all of them. Security, FX, inflation, they're all there for these companies as well.
Cost of doing business.
Purchase power.
Purchasing power parity.
Well, talking about balance, I mean, many Nigerians hearing you saying, I thought you said 64 Dutch companies operating in Nigeria. They will probably ask, how many Nigerian companies are in the Netherlands? But the question I wanted to ask you, really, is about consular services. You're also in charge of consular services. So how easy is it for Nigerians to get visas to the Netherlands? What has been your experience in terms of applications from Nigerians who want to go to Europe and they think, oh, they can get visa from the Netherlands? Does it take like 1 year to queue up, as is the case in some embassies? What is the attitude of the government to Nigerians' person-to-person diplomacy seeking to go to the Netherlands?
Thank you very much for that question. It's always a hurdle to travel, depending on your passport globally. The strength of your passport and the Nigerian passports form an additional hurdle to travel for many. The visa services that we offer are part of the Schengen visa services. They're streamlined across all Schengen members. They're EU plus some other countries. And the rules are actually quite rigorous, but also quite fair. We see the processing time of visas is about 3 to 4 weeks after the moment that you apply at the TLS Visa Center. 3 to 4 weeks, you get a response from the visa office. What you need to make sure as an applicant that you bring is proof that you won't overstay and proof that you would return if you're on a short stay visa. And that's important. We see levels of fraud rising. We've seen fake invitation letters. We've seen many of schemes that are happening behind the scenes. So that's why the rules and regulations of Schengen visa applicants are quite rigorous. We, happily enough, can count on the French consulate to process the visas for the Netherlands here in Nigeria. We return the favor for the French in Ghana. So in Ghana, Ghanaians go to the Dutch. Because the Schengen rules are the same in every single country that is a Schengen member. For long stay visas, we are working at the consulate here in Lagos to start giving those out ourselves. These are for migrant workers, for knowledge exchange, for longer stay applicants. And we'll start up. We're slowly starting up testing the services and the fingerprint machines already. And then we're looking at major constructions for our office to properly start long stay visa applications. And we're counting on about 800 to 1,000 every year that will come to our premises right here in Lagos for long stay visas in the Netherlands. Hopefully.
But do we have Nigerian companies operating in the Netherlands?
There are some Nigerian
Like how many? You said 64 Dutch companies in Nigeria. How many do we have in the Netherlands?
I will owe you the exact number, sir, but I'm happily would share those to you. There are about 90 Dutch companies in Nigeria. 64 responded to the survey, so I can only talk on them. But in Nigeria, there are a number of Nigerians who've started up companies who are also then reinvesting back into Nigeria. The big diaspora power is there. And AFEX, one of the fastest growing Nigerian companies. Yeah, the commodity exchange, they just set up a trade post in the Netherlands as well. So yeah, the linkages are there because the trade is there. It makes all of the sense, but they don't all have to come to us to report about coming to the Netherlands. The business of business is doing business, and they're just doing business.
Okay,
but
sure.
I'll happily look into the numbers for you.
So I'm sure they probably set that up because of the port in Rotterdam.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the business of also cultural exchange and interface, which is a very important business. Recently, we had some festival here called the Ojude that made, I'm sure you'll have seen the trend on social media. I'm an Ijebu person by birth, so it's from my extraction, and it pretty much happened in Ogun State and things like that.
Oh, nice.
Let's see how we can also have a symbiotic relationship where the Netherlands makes money from culture things here, and Nigeria also makes money from culture, and we have a symbiotic relationship. Are you thinking of the possibility of that? Has any proposition come to you as regards that?
Definitely. We are working on cultural exchanges as well. We have a small budget to actually pull people in and pull people out.
How small is this budget?
It's about 20,000 euros every year, I think.
Okay.
So it's manageable. But what we see, I actually saw Burna Boy in the Netherlands. He was playing at the festival. So what we already see when you walk down any shopping street in the Netherlands, you pop into a coffee or a bar place, Niger Beats is playing on the stereo. It's blowing up. So the number of artists that are finding their way not just to the Netherlands but to Europe as a whole is growing. And it's not just music. I've been to a Lagos fashion show. I mean, the brightness and the color and the
we have the Arise fashion show too.
Yeah. Really? Oh, nice.
Yeah. Not linked to that. You should try it out.
I will come, definitely. Excellent. Yeah, but I mean, the number of female entrepreneurs, localized fashion, slow fashion, sustainable fashion. We can take some notes on that because the fast fashion industry is also a big polluter in the world. So the fashion space, but artists, painters, movie makers, they're all there. So we're working on those exchanges. What I believe we could maybe look at into the future is kind of connecting ecosystems a bit better. So you have the
ecosystems. Quickly talk me through also possibilities in climate change, because Nigeria sometimes shares some, like take for instance Amsterdam and some parts in the Niger Delta share with some kind of topography, climate change, how we can harness for resource and wealth and things like that. Quickly.
Climate change is a big subject.
Yeah.
I'll give you some of the highlights. This also connects to our economic work. So we just had a massive MOU signed between Harvest Waste and Lagos State Government. We're going to the Ekpe Waste dump site to start a waste-to-energy project with a Dutch company called Harvest Waste. They'll churn over so much waste that they can power 40,000 households and get rid of the waste. Wow. It's a big program. And one more thing to highlight. Do I have time?
Quickly.
Okay. I'm really
less than a minute.
Less than a minute. Okay. I'm really proud of this project called Eco Learn. Yeah. We're doing that with climate youths right here in Lagos. It's the first program of its kind. They are now writing curriculum together with the PSSDC in Lagos and the Ministry of Environment in Lagos on climate change awareness in schools. It's all them. We've just convened and connected and
excellent.
Get them here.
At this point, I'll say good morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us.